It is 3 p.m. Monday here in Seoul. Hello and welcome to Arirang News. I'm Arirang. Thank you for tuning in. We start with North Korea's latest provocation. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff has confirmed that North Korea fired at least 3 short-range projectiles from Sondok, Hamgyeongnam-do province toward the East Sea at 7:36 a.m. today. The projectiles traveled some 200 kilometers and reached an altitude of 50 kilometers. The JCS said the launches appear to be part of its artillery strike drill involving multiple types of multiple rocket launchers for a wintertime exercise. The launches are also seen as a way for the regime to consolidate its power and shift the focus away from the coronavirus outbreak. Pyongyang is yet to report any COVID-19 cases. Meanwhile, coming back on the coronavirus outbreak, South Korea's total number of coronavirus cases is nearing 7,400 after reporting almost 250 new infections on Sunday. It's the first time in 12 days that the number of newly confirmed cases has fallen below 300. More than 76% of the new cases were in the southeastern city of Daegu. The death toll now stands at least 51 after one more death on Sunday, with 36 more being released from quarantine. 166 patients have made a full recovery so far. Around 17,500 people are currently being tested for COVID-19 across the country. A 5-day rotation system for buying protective face masks at pharmacies begins today in South Korea. People can only buy 2 masks a week and they can only buy them on a certain day, determined by the last digit of their birth year. On Mondays, i.e. today, only people born in a year ending with either 1 or 6 can buy masks. People can buy masks on behalf of those who are under 10 or over 80 years old or who are disabled, but only on those people's designated day. Now, the COVID-19 outbreak is rekindling a long-simmering diplomatic row between South Korea and Japan. Both Seoul and Tokyo, starting today, have tightened border control on all travelers from and to each side. It's the first time most of the air routes between the two neighbors are being halted since they were connected 70 years ago. Our Kim Yo-sun reports.
The South Korean government is imposing stronger entry restrictions on Japanese nationals entering the country starting Monday. The move, which comes immediately after Tokyo's stronger restrictions on South Koreans, includes a 3-stage screening scheme. It's also suspending visas and visa waivers for Japanese nationals. Currently, Japanese visitors can stay in Korea for 90 days without visa. Seoul says it will not issue visas for Japanese nationals unless they submit a health document which states whether they have any COVID-19 symptoms. As of Monday midnight, the Japanese government also suspended the 90-day visa-free entry program for South Koreans, while adopting a 14-day self-quarantine for those flying in from South Korea. This means South Koreans need to get visas in order to travel to Japan, which the Japanese embassy in Seoul explained would be time-consuming. Seoul describes such move as, quote, unfair and unscientific. Japan is among more than 100 countries that have imposed curbs on travelers from South Korea. Seoul's foreign ministry explained that so far, nearly 1,500 South Koreans have been quarantined in countries, including China and Vietnam. Kim Yo-sun, Arirang News.
The head of the World Health Organization says South Korea is making progress in fighting the coronavirus outbreak. Taking to Twitter on Sunday, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said he had what he called a productive call with South Korea's Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-hwa. He also thanked Seoul for pledging $3 million to help the global response to the outbreak. South Korea and the WHO see the spread of COVID-19 slowing down in the country, with fewer new daily infections in recent days. Saudi Arabia has slashed its export oil prices for April and is also planning to boost production. The move has sparked a price war which could have far-reaching economic and political consequences. It comes after Russia on Friday refused to join OPEC's plan to cut supplies. Saudi Arabia's state-run oil giant Saudi Aramco on Saturday lowered its April oil prices to Asia by $6 a barrel, its biggest discount in 20 years. It also slashed its export prices to the United States by $7 a barrel and to northwestern Europe by $8. Aramco also plans to increase its daily production to more than 10 million barrels, possibly even 11 million, well above its current output. Experts say the move will sharply drive down global oil prices. Meanwhile, the coronavirus outbreak has slammed the global airline industry. South Korean carriers are forecast to see their sales drop by billions of dollars as a result. The United States, meanwhile, is considering offering tax relief for American carriers to help them recover from a drop in bookings. Our Hong Yu reports.
As the coronavirus outbreak continues to spread around the world, the global airline industry is facing what some are calling a shutdown crisis. By the end of June, South Korea's airline industry is forecast to see its combined sales slump by at least $4.2 billion. This is due to entry restrictions and bans on travelers from South Korea and lower overall travel demand due to the virus. The Korea Civil Aviation Association said the number of travelers for the fourth week of February was almost 66% lower than the same period last year. But the damage could be even bigger going forward, as these numbers were calculated before Japan restricted entry of people coming in from South Korea. And for low-cost carriers that currently rely on domestic flights for the majority of their profits, losses are mounting up fast. Making matters worse, starting Monday, T-Way Air, Jean Air, EasterJet, and Air Busan are temporarily suspending all flights to Japan. South Korea's flagship carrier, Korean Air, saw its number of passengers drop more than 37% on year in February. In response, South Korea's transport ministry offered up to $254 million in emergency loans last month to low-cost carriers and delayed payment of airport usage fees for up to 3 months. But ministry officials will continue to meet airline executives to hear what they require. In the U.S., the Trump administration is considering a tax deferral to help U.S.-based airlines ride out the crisis.
We may have to go back to Congress for additional appropriation requests. That's May. We don't know yet. But again, please, the story I'm trying to tell is a story of timely and targeted micro forms of assistance, not gargantuan across the board, throw money at the problem, which has never worked in the past, because we think we will get out of this within months.
President Trump also signed an $8.3 billion bill last Friday to boost the U.S. response to the coronavirus outbreak. The International Air Transport Association forecasts airlines worldwide could lose up to $113 billion because of the outbreak. It added the collapse of Flybe, a low-cost British airline, is proof that urgent action is needed to protect the industry. But if the virus is contained and the world economy recovers fast enough, the association says total losses could be limited to $63 billion. Hong Yu, Arirang News.
Now, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases around the world has soared past 100,000. Governments around the world are scrambling to respond to the epidemic, and researchers are working to develop a vaccine. Oh Soo-young tells us more.
Can a vaccine for COVID-19 be developed within a year? Scientists around the world are scrambling to come up with an effective way to build immunity against the novel coronavirus. This involves replicating a small portion of the virus, which comes in the form of a single-strand RNA enclosed in a spike protein that binds and infects a cell. While many expect it to take at least 12 months before an effective vaccine is available for use, a lab at the UK's Imperial College is aiming to have a vaccine available within a year. It became the first place in the world outside China to start animal trials with a candidate vaccine. Senior fellow researcher Paul McKay says the lab's platform meant it could work quickly based around the genetic sequence of the virus.
And so COVID was just another stretch of genetic information that we were able to put into our platform and quickly make a vaccine. There's nothing particularly strange or unusual about coronaviruses. In fact, there are coronaviruses that are naturally present in people all the time. But because this is a new one, That's why it looks different.
He also said fears that the virus would evolve rapidly may be ungrounded.
This is a story that there was two different strains that were circulating, but we're not really sure that it's actually mutating very quickly. It's not like other viruses like influenza mutates very quickly. So COVID-19 does not seem to be doing that.
The biggest challenge is getting through the lengthy regulatory procedures.
And we would be able, I believe, to start a human clinical trial in June and then get results from that by late summer. And then we would need to start an efficacy trial. And that's the big one.
Scores of companies and research institutions around the world are now working on vaccines and treatments for COVID-19. In Korea, 50 medical firms, including Celltrion and Korea United Pharm, have either started or are preparing to start developing drugs. The Korea National Institute of Health is also leading research on developing key substances for vaccines. 오수영, Arirang News.
Okay, that is all the news that we have for you at this hour. Don't go too far, though. We will be bringing you a special live coverage of a government press briefing to foreign media in just about 10 minutes' time. So don't go away. Keep it tuned to Arirang TV. Until then, goodbye.